Hi everyone, welcome to tutorial number 3 for CodeSnap 2600 to learn how to use the tool to create some mini games for Atari 2600. So we can start from where we were on tutorial number 2. So we had the player number 1 that was able to move around and was changing color when touching the player 2. So just one note, in this new version, that is version 08 alpha, I've added a list of the colors for NTSC and PAL. So now we don't need to figure out what testing the values, but for example, if this collision color we want to choose, I don't know, red, like this 45, just clicking will copy it, and then I can paste, Ctrl V, generate a new code, and now it's like this reddish color. Also, I've added manuals in multiple languages, as you see, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Polish, Chinese, and German. Okay, let's start now. This tutorial will be to see how to move the player 2, in this case this player, and also to how to do to use the missile to try to hit it. So first thing, we want to move this player, let's say vertically here. So how we do that is we go to the variables, and we see that we have this move variable enemy from one point to another. So let's try this. So we want to move a player Y. So let's do this. Okay, I'll copy it because it's easier, and do player 2 because we want to move player 2 from by 1 from, let's say, position 10 to, I don't know, 80. Let's try what happens if we do that. And player 2 Y we put in X, sorry, put at 130. So let's see. Okay, so the player now is moving. So this means that the variable 2y, that is the coordinate for the player 2, moves by 1 from position 10 to position 80. So let's try something like, if I do 2, will be quicker. Okay, so this means how much steps, so how many pixels will move for each frame while going from top to bottom. And also notice that in this version I have added a comment here to indicate how much memory is available. So the ROM is 4K. We still have, for this, after this mini game, more than 3,500 K. So 3.5K. Okay, so now we want to enable the missile. Okay, so we want essentially the player to move. Can go, you see, it's blocked, cannot move more because we have set the maximum. So let's say we do closer, I don't know, 10. This is a maximum what the player X can do, player 1 in X. So you see it's very close, but it cannot touch, so we don't have a collision. Okay, so let's set up a missile first. So we need variables for a missile. So we have player 2x, player 2y, and we can do missile 1x and missile 1y. Then we can set, let's just put in a position to be like static for now. So we set the missile 1, can copy it, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and Y. So we put that position, I don't know, 30-30 for now, just to see how it works. Then the color of a missile 1 is automatically the same as player 1. We cannot choose on Atari. So then we need to set the position of a missile. So here we have a set player 1 position here, but we also have the missile 1. So let's go here, and we say the position for missile 1 will be missile 1x. Is already correct. Yes. Then another thing is we can make the missile different size. So if we go here, we can see that the missile weight could be 1 or, okay, let's put somewhere so we see 1 or 2 or 4. Let's do 4, so it's a little more visible. And so in that way we have set the coordinates, the position of a missile, and also here in the kernel we can say missile enabled at the coordinate missile 1y for the y position. Let's see what happens if I compile. So we have a missile in position 30-30. So what we wanted to do is move the missile from the position of a player to the right, and then try to hit the player 2. So something like first collision will be between missile 1 and player 2. So we want the missile 1 hitting player 2, and we can change the color of player 2. And also to make it even more evident, we can also set here, we have a background color. So for now the background color is black, it is 000. So let's say if there is a collision, we also change the background color to, you know, is orange 2A. Okay, so now how can I make the this hitting the player 2? So let's try a static one just to see if a collision works. So we see that the x of the player 2 here is 130. So let's put the missile 1x to 130 and see what happens. So we have a collision working. Okay, so let's put it back to something else. Okay, now we need the code to when pressing fire, to position this missile on where the player 1 x is, and y as well, and then start moving the missile on the right to try to hit the player 2. Okay, so now we can use a function to move the missile on the right. So let's try this function for now. So if I duplicate this just to see how it works, we can do missile x from 30 to 140. Let's see if this works. This should move the missile on the right, and we'll continue to do that. Okay, what I see if there is a collision, we see it. Okay, now let's instead of this, we wanted to use the position of a player. So let's look at the variables, and we have a move variable that is the same thing, but allowing me to select an actual variable here, not just numbers. So let's delete this block and say go from the x will go from position, let's say position of a player. So we go to this variable player 1x, and we'll go from here to, I don't know, 144. So essentially we'll go on that position. So let's see what happens if I do this. Move variable, of course I need to move the missile 1x variable. Okay. It starts from the position of a player. Y is not changing yet, but if you see, it starts from where the player is. Okay, so now we want to set the y as well to where the player is. So let's see the y position. How do we set it? We set the variable missile y here to where the player is. So we do something like this. We duplicate that. We do player 1 y. Let's try. But you see the problem. So the missile now is moving where the player is moving. We don't want that. So we need to have the player, the missile 1 to be starting from position of player, but then we should not change after that. So let's save this position. So we can say variable I don't know, saved player 1x. Let's say call it that way. So if we save the position when fire is okay, so let's use fire. So if I go under input, so let's use, so if joystick 1 has a single fire, and I need to add this variable, this is required, otherwise it will not work. So I need to create another variable for this. So if there is a single press, then we set this variable, oh sorry, I moved everything, control, but in the wrong block. Okay, so the position of a y changes if I press a fire. I need to compile. So if I press fire, position changes. It's just keep firing because we didn't add anything to stop fire when it reaches the end. But we can do that. So as you see, when I press fire. Okay, so now what we should do is first we need to stop the missile when it reaches some position. So we said from what we indicated that the missile moves from this to 144. Let's do 150, and if is we add another if. So here, and if the missile 1x is greater than, let's say, 144, essentially we have to disable the missile. How can we do that? So disabling means that we can set his y position to something not visible. So we can do this, and we can make the missile 1y to something different. So to a position that is outside the screen, I don't know, 120 should be fine. So let's see what happens. When it reaches the end, it's no more visible. It's actually moving below here, but it's not more visible. If I click button, you see it goes. So now we need, when we press a fire, also to set again the position. So the position of a player. So let's move this block inside this. Okay. Oh, it's wrong. Because this is moving only one time. I need to position the player to that place. So set variable missile yx 1x to player 1x. Okay, first time move, and I press button, and the missile moves. You can go close. Okay, you see when I hit the enemy, not easy from distance. Okay, so the error I made was move this block inside this if joystick single press was pressed. So because this happens only one time when I press the button, so this function that is essentially used to increase the exposition of a missile every frame was not working, was just working one time, so not moving. So now what I did was I set a variable, the missile, to position X and Y of a player, and when I do that, the missile appears. Then it essentially is still moving, so I didn't stop this thing. It's still moving somewhere below, but we don't see it, and also it doesn't touch the other enemy, so it's fine. You can maybe do a little bit cleaner, but it's okay. And still we have plenty of memory. So I think this is this completes this tutorial number 3, and thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.